Welcome to Recovering with Becca, an old school drinker who woke up in her 50s only to discover there is life after the bottle. I'm your host, Becca Jacobson, and this is one girl's opinion on why we should get sober and how to do it. I offer short, daily inspirations for 45-plus professional women who are searching for a solution to uncontrolled drinking. If you're undecided, I'm here to convince you to take the leap, and I'm here to help you along the way. Listen, gals, we've wasted enough time, so join me and my group of amazing women on the thrilling road to recovery. Hello, Buttercup. Thanks for joining me. So happy you're here. Did you know that Eleanor Roosevelt said we should do one thing every day that scares us? One thing every day that scares us. I love that quote. I love that concept. And you know what? I try really hard to live by it. We need to get outside our comfort zone. You've heard me say this before, and you're going to hear me say it again. As we stay in our comfort zone, nothing changes, and if nothing changes, nothing changes. And if nothing changes, we remain exactly where we are, and if you're discontented, that's what we'll be. Whatever we have right now at this moment in our lives that's bothering us, it ain't going nowhere unless we are willing to take uncomfortable action. Do one thing each day that scares you. What do I mean by that? Well, it turns out that a lot of things scare us. It surprised me how much scared me. When I first gave up alcohol, I realized that I was basically terrified of everything. And even though I had to push forward and do so many scary things in my life, it was my running back to the bottle every evening or every weekend that sort of my safety. Okay, well, I got to do this, but I'll be safe. And let me give you an example of what I mean by that. I went to college. I started college when I was 32. In the years leading up to that, I was a partier, a drinker, and a lot of other things that you're going to read about in my book. May I talk about it here on the podcast? I haven't decided yet, but it's going out in the book, so I don't know what the heck the problem is, but I guess I'm just not ready to talk about certain things out loud. Maybe once it's published. But anyway, sidetracked. Let's keep going. So when I was 32, I took my first college course, and up to that point, I had done, what do I know about college? Nobody in my family had any education. There certainly was nobody ever talked about going to college. It's just not what we did. We went out and got whatever job we could get, whether it was at the gas station or the local pub, right? That's what we did. And, I just got it in my head. I wanted to go to college ever since I was a teenager, but I never said anything because who was there to say? What was the point of saying anything? And then as I got older and in my early 30s, I guess, when I went on my 11th trip to the detox center in the city I grew up in. Yeah, 11th. So I went basically once a year through my 20s for a whole decade. Invariably, once a year, I'd end up back there really sick, not intentionally. I would just drink myself, so I was so sick that I'd have to go and be detoxed. Anyway, when I was 32, or I think the end of my 31 or whatever, just about 32, I found myself in there again, and I was so depressed. And the same women worked there. I'd come in the door so sick. Half the time delivered by ambulance. And these women that worked in the detox center, very kind, patient women, would just look at me, oh, hi, you're back again. And it became absurd. Because while you're there, after the first few days, as soon as you're not, you get over being sick, they're trying to help you. They're trying to help you put together a life so you can live sober. They're trying to get you the help and support you need after you get out of there. You're usually only in there 5 to 7 days. It's not a long-term fix. It's just a detox, right? You'll see a doctor, you'll talk to a counselor, and you'll try to set yourself up. And by the end of the week, you're like, okay, I can do this, only to turn around and show up again within about 12 months. So anyway, they would greet me with great patience and kindness. And this time I was just so, I don't know, something was different. I mean, the thing is, I was sick of it every time I went in there. So I don't know why it was different this time, but it was. And when I came out, I decided I'm going to college. And I decided I finally spoke about it to the people, anyone who would listen. There was really no one in my life to support me, but I said it out loud, and I went and I applied for student loans. I had no money. And I just started. I just went to the college. There's a small university actually in our town, and I went there and figured out what I had to do to get and just started. That was hard. That was scary. Okay, I was scared. I had to go into debt. I didn't know how I would ever pay off this debt. Would I even get a job? My goal was a bachelor's degree, and people were, but that was the most support I got from, I won't mention who, one family member who said, "What are you doing that for? Nobody, bachelor's degree won't get you a job." And I just remember thinking, oh yeah, they're probably right, and yet I carried on and went, kept going, and for 4 years. And after that, ended up going to grad school, and I was still drinking, and I was still sick, and all of it was so scary and so hard, and I kept going. And then after that, ended up getting a job at a college, a community college. That was hard and scary. Listen, I didn't mean to go on and on about my whole story here, but my point is, all my life I've been doing scary things. Even leading up to my first college course, my life in my 20s was very scary. I did some things that are just, now that I think about, it was terrifying. Getting myself into situations that were scary. My dears, let me just slow down, take a deep breath here. And what I'm trying to say to you is that it is worthwhile stepping out of your comfort zone. It doesn't have to be earth-shattering, like life-changing stuff. I've done big things, small things, but on an everyday level, if there's something that makes you uncomfortable, I would suggest you do it. Just do it. Just decide, I'm going to make that call today, or I'm going to send that email today, or I'm going to ask this person that thing that I've been wanting to ask them today. Whether they say no or not, I don't care. Fine. They say no, I'm not going to die. Or I'm not going to have a drink this afternoon at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. Or I'm just going to see what it's like to sit there and not have a drink this weekend. Or whatever it is in your life, take some uncomfortable action. Do something every day that scares you. And what happens? Your life starts to change. The smallest things will make a difference. Even reaching out to an individual that scares you a little bit, or going somewhere that's a little bit scary for you. Maybe you've been invited somewhere and you think, I don't know, I don't really fit in there. Go see what it's like. Sit down, find out what it's like. For some of you, that might be a 12-step meeting. You've never been, if you're struggling with alcohol, go. What's going to happen? A monster's not going to eat you. Walk through the door, sit down, and just listen. You don't have to talk. Whatever it is, I encourage you to take uncomfortable action, because if nothing changes, nothing changes. And if you don't do something different, nothing changes. And then you'll just be right where you are tomorrow, where you are today. And unless that's where you want to be, which I'm assuming it isn't because you're listening to me, I want to encourage you to take some uncomfortable action. That's my message for today. Thank you for listening, gals. Love you madly, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thanks for joining me. If you know someone in need of inspiration, don't forget to share, and make sure you're following and subscribed so that we can get together every day for short inspirations. Let's make this happen. Bye for now.